Okay, so in this video I'm going to talk about the advanced training system, which is a new system we've just rolled out on the UNITAF website. I'm just going to explain how it's different to the basic training system, IETC, and the difference between it, and just show you the new features, etc. A lot of this is going to change very quickly, so if you're watching this anytime after August 2019, it's probably going to be very different to what you can see now, but the concepts will probably be roughly the same. I'm not going to touch on basic training or IETC, so if you don't know what that is, you've not done it, you may not understand some of this, but I'll probably do another video on that later. So I'm going to head over to the training section on the website. Here you can see a list of schools. Schools are simply just ways of grouping courses based on roles. AM4 covers all army forces and infantry roles, and some of the cavalry roles as well. MAN4 is Marine, Air and Navy Forces, covers pilots, logistics and all the marine roles. And then you've got special operations and the task force administration. So the last one there will cover things like administration, server administration, and all sort of qualifications that we want to throw in for the running of UNITAF. So the one I'm going to focus on today is Army Forces and AM4, because that's going to be most pertinent to people for the next 6 months or so. But you are welcome to view the other ones which are there. So I'm going to go to the school view. The school view will show me a list of all roles in the school that are relevant to the school and in specific groups. So you can see the the AM4 school is grouped into things like fire team, squad, infantry attachments, cavalry, platoon and company roles. Each of the ones listed is not necessarily an in-game role name, but it's rather a collection of in-game roles. So when you look at fire team roles, they pretty much look like all-back roles, and that's true, they are. But as you sort of look into things like infantry attachments, you'll see they're called things like anti-aircraft team medium. Under those there'll be 3 or 4 different in-game role names, for example. So I can click on any of these to open the qualification, which I'm going to do now. And this is the qualification view, so it tells me a little bit about it, and on the right hand side there's a bit of a fact file. So the prerequisite is any qualification that's required to be completed before I can start this one. So you can see that the automatic rifleman requires the assistant automatic rifleman, and that's linked, so I can click that there. And that this one is required for the medium machine gun team qualification. So I need to have completed this one before I can proceed on. And you can see here that I have requested to start this qualification, and that's being reviewed. And if you hadn't done that, for example, there'd be a button there for you to start that request. So I'm going to go on to the Standard Operating Procedures tab now and just explain the difference between IETC and advanced training. The SOP is the same effectively. You have a list of standard operating procedures broken down into small bite-sized pieces that you can open up and have a look at. If you're not sure what they are, if you know what they are already, you can ignore them. And obviously, kind of what's unique with advanced training is you'll notice here that types of fire, weapon sights, basic marksmanship, they're all stuff that's going to be covered in other roles. So a designated marksman, for example, would use these same standard operating procedures. So the only ones unique specifically to this role are basic concepts and role responsibilities. And what that means is, as you sort of progress through the training tree, you could start a qualification and already be sort of 75% qualified for it, because you'll see that these checks are already green, so they do carry across roles, which is quite nice. But as it stands, this is my only advanced training qualification, and I've not done anything with it yet, so I am 0% through it on the right hand side. But that said, in advanced training courses, training checks are not the way that the courses or the qualifications are verified. They're simply there for you to be able to read, and the way it's really tested is in this feature on the left called challenges. So the training challenges there'll be a number of challenges per advanced training. They take between sort of 3 and 5 minutes. Some will be longer, some may be even shorter. The aim of the 3 challenges, or however many have been assigned to a role, is to test all the aspects of the role, and specifically to test the skill of the person taking the challenge. So in the aim of this automatic rifleman role, The challenges are there to test your accuracy, your skill at suppression, and probably to do with fire discipline and a few other things. So it's explained in this hint at the top, so you can read that as well. And you can also open the SOP block to read the specifics about the challenge. So it will tell you everything in terms of how the challenge will be set up, how it will be marked by the instructor, how long you've got to do it. You can see here 3 minutes 20 seconds, and in this case it's a weapon-based challenge, so it's 200 rounds that you will be given to use. Challenges are marked red, amber and green, just like checks are, but they're also scored. Some challenges will be leaderboarded, so you'll be able to see how other people scored, and even though you may all pass, it's a way for certain points-based or time-based challenges to have a competition element against them, so people can compete on a cooperative level. The last point about challenges is that some challenges have an expiry, usually only one per role, and that's there so that whilst SOP is perpetual and never expires, SOP can only go down if you're marked down by an instructor. And in advanced courses, once you've completed 3 challenges, all of your training checks will be marked green. Whereas in basic training, you basically have to earn the checks going green, but it's the reverse in advanced training. You only have to complete the 3 challenges. If you complete the 3 challenges to a level of amber or green, as long as it's not red, all your training checks will be marked green. And the reason for that is that we assume that if you can pass the challenges, which effectively test all of the standard operating procedures, then of course that means that you've read it, you understand it, and if at any point in the future it's deemed that you don't understand the SOP, an instructor will be able to come back here and basically mark you down to highlight to you that obviously you need to touch up on it. So that's unique to advanced trainings. Just back on the challenge expiry, so the default expiry date is 90 days. So this challenge 3 here is a range test. You'll take it for the first time, and after 90 days it will refresh and it will trigger a reminder for you to take it again. It takes 1 minute and 30 seconds to complete, so it's not a lot of time to take out of your day every 90 days. But effectively when it does do that, you'll tier up in this role. So the first time you take it, you'll wait 3 months and you'll be a automatic rifleman tier 1. And after 3 months you take it again and you become an automatic rifleman tier 2. As long as you obviously pass the challenge the second time, which if you've got any number of operational hours in it, you probably will. And so that will roll over and you'll become an automatic rifleman tier 2. So that's enough on challenges. I think that makes sense. Obviously not all challenges for all roles will be range based. If you look at the role list, things like combat lifesaver will be based on dealing with casualties. You'll be put in certain situations where you'll have to triage patients. The anti-tank rifleman will be about target acquisition and obviously projecting launchers onto targets. The grenadier role will be an IDF based one, and if you start to look into the leadership roles and the NCO roles, there'll be a lot of battlefield planning, battle drills, tactics, etc. that will be required of people as they progress through, and the different challenges, etc. So I'm just going to touch on this again briefly. I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, so you can see that I've got the request to start button there. On the prerequisites, it may be for some roles that they don't just require the role themselves, but they require a certain number of operational hours in the prerequisite role. So what I mean by that, and I picked a bad example here, so I'm just going to go back and pick another one. Let's pick the automatic rifleman. So it says it requires the assistant automatic rifleman qualification, but it may be that it requires me to have played in that role, i.e. the assistant automatic rifleman's role, for a set number of operational hours, let's say 6 operational hours for example. So if I go to my profile, my dossier, deployment record, you can see I've never played as an assistant automatic rifleman, so I'm not going to have much luck there. but it might be something that we do. And a good example of that is if we want someone to do the squad leader's qualification, we might want them to have done at least, for example, 10 operational hours as a fire team leader, which obviously I just have by the skin of my teeth. Another new feature is the training record, a bit like the deployment record on your dossier. It's a bit basic at the moment, but it will get improved upon. And you can see here all of the qualifications that I am attached to and the status of them. So my IET, which is graduated and maxed out, my automatic rifleman, which you can see I've requested but I've not currently started, and my AT light, which I've requested, it's been approved, but I've also not started. And that's just nice because it's the easiest way now to track your own training. It's just to go to my dossier, training record, and it's all there for you. The only thing you really need to go to the training centre for is if you're going to pick a new qualification and you need to request it, and as soon as you've requested it from this page, for example, I'm going to request the Grenadier. I go back to my dossier, go to the training record, and you can see the Grenadier has come up there, and I'm already, according to this, training underway because part of my previous training that I've done applies to Grenadier, and therefore it carries over. So that's a basic overview of the new training system. I've probably missed a lot, but it is going to tie in a few weeks' time, or probably a month's time, to the All Bats, where effectively what we're going to be doing is restricting your ability to deploy on an All Bat based on what roles you're actually qualified to play. But what we wanted to make sure we did with the advanced training system was to make it easy, simple, straightforward, and something that was partly skill-based, but partly knowledge-based, but didn't require a lot of time. And if the automatic rifleman challenges take less than 10 minutes, 5 minutes if you're good, and the actual challenge number 3 taking 90 seconds, it's something that we can stick at the end of operation nights, or before operation nights, and you can do very simply, but it still allows us to ensure that each person in the All Bat roles, as you can see on the screen here, knows what they're doing. And so hopefully I've covered it. If you have any questions about it, feel free to ask on Discord, but otherwise thank you for watching.